For Kevin Jewell, windy days like this one are unsettling. They remind him of Fiona, the storm that destroyed his dairy barn.
I'll have to admit I was scared. You just held your breath, waiting for it to subside, and then it would come again. It was relentless, and and now when you hear wind, I mean, you think, I think we're going to have to think differently.
Thinking differently has become unavoidable across Prince Edward Island, where some people went weeks without power, and in other Atlantic Canada communities. Post-tropical storm Fiona typifies the dreadful reality of more powerful storms attributed to global climate change. The insurance industry says Fiona caused an estimated $660 million in damage, the most costly storm on record in the region. And that doesn't include additional destruction that is not covered by insurance. In Port aux Basques, Newfoundland and Labrador, town officials say 81 houses were destroyed or damaged beyond repair by Fiona's terrifying wall of water. One woman was swept out of her house and died. Others are now afraid of the ocean they'd always embraced.
Especially for residents maybe in the highly impacted areas, they're having a fair bit of difficulty with when there's forecast of bad weather.
People in Port aux Basques thought their storm of the century was a 2021 rainstorm that washed out sections of the Trans-Canada Highway, stranding the town in both directions. Less than a year later, Fiona redefined the term historic storm, gouging out chunks of landmass, leaving more than 50 other homes vulnerable to devastation next time.
We have to look at what the future of that looks like now as we go forward in a rebuild.
In the days after Fiona's devastating sweep through Atlantic Canada, the federal government promised disaster assistance in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
We need to have transparency and accountability, absolutely, but we also need to get the money to families as quickly as possible, especially with winter coming, especially with some of the impacts to community infrastructure, and we're going to be there.
Not everyone is convinced.
We don't know what, if anything, will be forthcoming from the federal government.
Osborne Burke says Fiona caused millions of dollars in damage to the fish plant he manages in Cape Breton. As they rebuild with additional reinforcements, Burke says insurance covers some but not all of the cost.
The frustrating portion for us to have to face with every day is we're continuing to rebuild, no understanding of what we're going to receive, if any.
The Progressive Conservative Nova Scotia government has released its own climate action plan intended to limit the prospects of future climate change devastation. The plan promises big cuts in greenhouse gas emissions with measures that include restricting the use of oil heat. To some climate analysts, the plan doesn't go far enough.
What we didn't see in this plan is a commitment to end outdated industries. We still have an open coal mine in this province. We have gold mines.
Back on PEI, Fiona's impact lingers. Mussel growers, who export more than $40 million worth of the shellfish annually, had hundreds of acres of future product washed out to sea. Kevin Jewell is still adjusting to the loss of his dairy barn.
It is a major blow to our annual income.
He estimates building a stronger barn on top of what's left of the old one will cost more than what his insurance company is willing to cover.
We're scared for a long time on the island.
As he navigates government assistance programs, Jewell is moving forward.
We could just get a roof on here before we get too much snow. It would be ideal.
Working toward a better new year, but more vulnerable than ever to the unpredictable force of Mother Nature. Ross Lord, Global News.